day 6 of my 30-day challenge to make progress on PitFight, my upcoming indie game. Today may have started off easy, boys and girls, but it did not end that way. I started off with most of the fun stuff, like the executions and the blood systems we were working on, and I was making a lot of progress doing that and having a lot of fun. You could see the blood splatters of the dead bodies. I'm still trying to figure out a way to see if I could leave dead bodies mid-match with all the blood splatters around them, because I just think it looks really cool, but I'll get into that a little bit later. Most of my morning was just spent cleaning up some of the executions, adding the blood effects, and adding the drips to all of them as well. Yeah, like that. They turned out good enough, and I got to most of them, but I think I'll get to the rest later when I'm in a more polishing stage. Here's where things got really interesting. I spent a long time today just working on the UI. The UI changes, the way it looks, the way it feels, the sounds, the design of all my menus, from the start menu, the options menu, and I'm also reworking the way that multiplayer works in my game. So currently the way that it works is that you have one host, and then that host makes a game, and then you can join that game as a client or as anybody wanting to join that game. When you go to join game on the list, you would see a list of all the games that are joinable. You'd join that lobby and then start the game from there. I'm going to keep that logic for custom games, but I'm actually going to also add a queue system for joining normal games. So basically, our servers are going to be running games 24/7 or starting that process whenever somebody wants to find a game, and then it'll link you up with other players wanting to join that type of game mode that you're playing. I wanted to start off pretty simple, so I'm starting with 3 basic game modes, which would be Team Deathmatch, a free-for-all, and then a duel, which would be a 1v1. And I feel like that's a really good base to start and see if I want to expand on it from there. The UI took me forever to figure out. I am not very good at this. I don't really do it a lot, but I have this fantasy UI pack that I'm going to be using for the rest of my game, and I thought I'd start putting it to use and getting more familiar with it. So I picked a couple cool icons. Originally, I had the idea to put images in those boxes. So Team Deathmatch would have 3 people running at 3 people. Free-for-all would have, a circle of people all running at each other, and a duel would have 1 person facing 1 person. I still might go back to that, but I kind of wound up really liking these icons that I have found. So I think these will be really good placeholders for now. I spent a long time trying to figure out the layout, how it should look, how it should feel, and really just poking around for hours today trying to figure it all out. It's not very intuitive for somebody that doesn't come from a UI background, but I was able to poke around enough and long enough to figure it out for the most part. I don't think it's perfect. There's still a few things I want to clean up, especially before actually launching this game. This will have 10 or 20 once-overs to make sure everything's on par for the quality that I'm shooting for. You can see I had a lot of problems getting it the right size at first. Didn't really understand the scale boxes and the size boxes, but I think it wound up being a really good addition. And you can see here I have some layouts, and this was what I was working on mostly today, getting the play, custom game settings, and quit buttons all updated, but now it's updated to the new fantasy UI, which I really like. And then we have our select game mode button there, and that's gonna wrap it up for today. So thanks for watching, nerds. Follow for more.